Hey everybody, welcome to Shifty's Club. Today guys, I'm doing a pack opening. Well, technically, a box opening. Technically, two box openings. I tell people you usually don't ever want more than two TrevNoirs. So I decided to open two. And if I ever need more, I can literally just trade for them or buy them. But I figured this would be cool for you guys to get to see this. So let's go. I'm gonna check to make sure what space I've got. Okay, cool. Now, I hate opening packs because you guys already know I have just about everything. So, I'm not even worried. So, there's the TrevNoir. There's the QR codes you guys can see. So I'm gonna put that in a sleeve. We get two Unified Minds packs, one Lost Thunder, and one Horrible Steam Siege. And of course, the oversized card I absolutely do not care anything about. So that's pretty much what you get in this box. If you guys didn't realize, I'm doing it in my kitchen, literally because like everything for Dallas is on a table, so it's a lot easier for me. So there's the TrevNoir, there's the QR code. If you guys don't know what he does, he's pretty good. Night Watch, as you guys can see, it's got a good amount of HP. Night Watch for 3 energies, 150, and you choose 2 random cards out of your opponent's hand and they shuffle them back in their deck. It's good for disruption. Pale Moon GX is basically, believe it's at the end of your opponent's turn, the defeated Pokemon's knocked out, and if it has more, I think if it has the same amount of energy as Night Watch, it's they can't retreat. I think. Oh no, discard all energy. It took me a while, but anyway, it's a good card. I don't like it in standard. I do believe that in standard it is not as good as it is in expanded. So we get, wow, look at that. We get the same packs, but in different locations. So that's pretty interesting, right? I thought about getting a Meowth. I thought about getting the Meowth one, but I decided it was not worth it to get a Meowth one. As you guys can see. Alright, so that takes care of that. Now, we're going to talk. So I'm going to put that inside. Let's see. Alright, so you guys don't really need to even see me for me to talk. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to talk about with you guys was our closing in expanded format. You guys that are a part of Burbank City know that when I was going to go, it was basically, I had a deck set which was Giratina Garchomp with Cofagrigus from Plasma Freeze. Now, a lot of people like different variations of Giratina Garchomp. I think it's one of the best cards, and it took me literally till Friday to figure that out. That the deck I had tried before, and then I found that Stefan Ivanov had a list that had Noivern GX, and when I saw that, I thought, oh my gosh, that solves every problem you need. So I ended up copying his list at first and then reverted to my own, and then I saw a lot of his texts. um, there were about, I want to say, 8 cards other than the Noivern. When I put the Noiverns in, or the 2/2 Noivern, I had about an 8 card difference, and some of the differences he had actually seemed a little bit optimal. However, I run about 59 cards the same as he did. The only exception is I took out the second in for Guz Mahala because there were too many situations where I absolutely needed all 3 pieces, and going for computer search turn 1 or turn 2 would not be ample to get the other remaining pieces, or if I was missing everything. Because if I'm missing everything, I would much rather grab the Guz Mahala and then a missing piece, like, say for instance, the like a nest ball or something. If I've already got the Kafagrigus in hand, and or I had the Yamask on the bench, I go for nest ball Guz Mahala because I can literally just grab the rest of it. Generally, Giratina Garchomp is going to be in hand. I'm going to have some way to access it. That makes it easier. Now, you guys probably have seen me play a variety of decks. My most successful deck that I used and expanded was Reshizard Aggro, which was 4 Reshizard, 4 Lele, and basically just focused on getting set up into basically tearing your opponent up by turn 3, turn 4. Its whole purpose was everyone is playing these 2 and 3 price decks. Let's make them pay for running them. Not literally make them pay because, I'm not running what I consider bad GX, but I want to say that probably one of the best things about the deck was it was so consistent. It had multiples of Ultra Ball, Cherish Ball, I even put Pokemon Communication in the deck at first, and then just swapped it out for a few Mysterious Treasures, a few Nest Balls. Like, I got to where I absolutely loved the deck, and being able to place a variety of all these cards, like with all of the fire support that had released, I felt like Ho-Oh, when it was literally my best option. When it had 180 HP, it could swing for 210 with a Choice Band. It had Volcanion to get up to 240. Now we had Charizard, where all I had to do was attach a Choice Band and I get to 260, or a Volcanion EX Steam up to get to 260, and even the other to get to 290, where I'm knocking out all but 2 different Pokemon in the format, which was really good. I absolutely loved it. And I didn't really care if I didn't one-hit Bird Trio or Whale Cart, because they weren't that important to me. So it really wasn't a matter of being able to solve every single matchup. It was about being able to answer what the opponent was doing. Now, some of these one-price decks I just fall to because they just set up. If they set up extremely fast and they get going, I don't win. It's just very hard to get going. But I did run cards like Malolana so I could swap out of it. I did not run Tag Call specifically because I didn't use tag cards that often, with the exception of Reshizard. All my other stuff was, except for one, the Malolana, everything else was pretty much just not tag, so it didn't really make any sense if I was running only a few tag options. The other deck that everybody was talking about and everybody questioned was the Baby Trio. I would like to credit and shout out to Daniel Tavila. His list is the one that I posted on my account, basically to show you guys what I used and the changes I would have made. There was a few differences between his list and my list, and I honestly thought he was running order pads, and apparently he took out the order pads, and I had no idea. Like, I saw the list and I thought, okay, I can't run only one Lele, I can't run only one baby trio. I thought I'll touch this up a little bit, and I was like, okay, so I like this, I like this, I like this, and I eventually got a list I really liked. I went 3-1, got up to a Guardian matchup and hit the Wonder Energy, and if I hit Enhanced Hammer, I pretty much can win the game, but I pretty much dead draw that into after going first. He goes in his first turn. If I don't dead draw, I win that match. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind I win that, because E Hammer would have taken off the Wonder Energy. There would have been no way for him to do anything about it. So that's something I really liked about it. So it does have an answer to almost everything. You can always take off tools very easily because you just go through your entire deck. So Stealthy Hood really doesn't do much. Like you said, you can replace Sky Pillar. They have one energy. You can E-hammer them, which is not hard at all, because you run 2 copies in the deck and they really just can't do anything. And even if you don't need them, you can discard them with Ultra Ball. You can discard them. It's pretty much a win-win, being able to play cards that you eventually could use in some situations. But anyway, I chose not to play either of those decks. If I would have went to Dallas, I would have played Giratina Garchomp with Kafagrikas because of its matchups. Had I gone, I would have felt very confident about playing against Dark. Absolutely 100%, I know I would have done well against Dark. Specifically because the deck beats Dark so well that it becomes extremely hard for them to recover after the first knockout, because you lock so much down for them. And even in decks like Mew, if you play the Mew Mew, your idea is to either A, lock them with Noivern and get a 2-hit with the special energy lock attack for 120, and then the Kafagrikas comes in, hits 30, so that would give you a 270 damage. And at any point, you could have field blowered Fighting Fury Belt had they put something on like that. Usually it's going to be near impossible for them to grab like Melolana. You do run E-Hammer, so you can just deny them any attack that they already have. So anything that they could have done, you could have easily responded to. And that's what I loved about the deck, and I would have played it. Now, going forward, you guys already know what I'm going to play. I'm going to be playing Snorlax VMAX more than likely. I'm about 80% sure I want to play this at Collinsville. If I don't, more than likely I will revert to Lapras VMAX. I am 95 to 100% sure I'm playing Lapras VMAX in Standard when it releases. And the reason for this is because Lapras VMAX has a new partner in Frostmoth, which is a Stage 1 Deluge, and that is absolutely wonderful. And you guys have absolutely no idea how crucial that card, how critical it is to being able to pretty much just change the game. Being able to set up all the energy that you can turn 2 is amazing, especially when one of the most powerful attackers in the game is a 320 HP, virtually a Stage 1. And it becomes really, really good when you're able to put on that much pressure to your opponent. Now, obviously giving up 3 prices is a problem, but not when you have, on average, 50 to 70 more HP than a tag team. That is stupid that you have between 40 and 80 more HP than almost every tag team. but you have more HP than any tag team possible. Only Snorlax VMAX has more than you, and the good thing is Snorlax in Standard cannot one-shot you, but you can technically one-shot Snorlax. The way I've calculated it out, you can realistically knock out Snorlax with 8 water energy and that tool card that increases your damage by 10, or even with get what the name, I think Galarian Zigzagoon. I think that's the name of it, I forget. But Galarian Zigzagoon, I think puts a damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. If it's to the bench, I wouldn't do it. I would rather just play the tool, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I technically forget because I've been using the tool. But I definitely will look at that, and I will and if I'm wrong, I'll let you guys know in my next video. I kind of thought I was overdue, so I bought a little bit of product just to give me a reason to talk to you guys and let you guys kind of hear what I have to say. So TrevNoir, I'm pretty much thinking about just doing a little bit of hand lock for the rest of Expanded until Shield and Sword comes out, because there's a few more tournaments that we will have. So I kind of want to just have fun with the rest of the time I've got. I'll probably take that Giratina Garchomp deck to a local tournament as well. Just play some of those decks that I never got to play. And I really, really want to show people that these decks really do work. And I'm pretty sure everybody and their grandmother is testing Snorlax for Expanded. And if not, they're definitely testing Lapras Frostmoth. Whether it be because I mentioned it back when everyone first saw what Lapras did, I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. When I first saw what Frostmoth did, I told everybody that was going to be my deck. And I am going to stick to my word on that. Now, there's going to be people who say, well, there's some ways that you can counter that. A lot of people are going to run Zamazenta V in order to counter. However, you really don't need to worry about that. If Galarian Zigzagoon is allowed to hit the active, you can technically use its ability to hit the active once, attach the 10 extra damage tool, and just hit with Lapras V. 4 energy, I think, for 210 damage. And you return energy to your hand. I'm not 100% sure on that. But for, 210 plus 2 is 230. That knocks out Zamazenta, then absolutely. And if people try to put up some of those weird, GX attacks, you basically can just play around those. You do have access to some cool cards that no one else really does. Water type decks get access to Crash Your Wake. Now, Crash Your Wake is pretty cool because it lets you discard 2 water from your hand, and trust me, you're usually going to have 2 water in hand. With a deck that I run 14 water energy because, well, I can pretty much just ramp it, and I need usually 6 to 8 energy to grab knockouts, so it's a lot easier to access. Running so many energy allows you access to things like Crash or Wake, and it allows you to use things like Great Catcher on GX Pokemon. It allows you to go for Counter Catcher if you give up that initial prize on, say, you accidentally start a Galarian Zigzagoon, or one of your Frostmoth basic Pokemon, I don't remember what it's called, I really don't. If one of them gets knocked out and you're putting some prizes, basically, you can put in a Counter Catcher or 2 just for that situation, where you go, okay, I'm going to Crash your Wake, I'm going to grab Counter Catcher, and probably, assuming energy retrieval is in our standard format, I'm not 100% sure. So you can basically get the water energy back. So basically the only thing you did is you played a supporter to realistically thin 2 cards out of your deck, one of which you're netting a custom catcher off of it. Or not custom counter catcher. Of course, of course, Crash Your Weight can grab 2 custom catchers. And because you have abilities, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to just go off and find specific cards. So Crash Your Wake is a very good way to get around stuff. Also, you can use ADP, and ADP's GX attack is very good. Its ultimate ray is probably what I would use it for if you run an aura energy, or if you just play metal. You can literally just utilize them probably to the best. With that being said, if you do play ADP, the best way to do it is to play Crash Awake, but you also play Rainbow Brush. So when you attach a water via Rainbow Brush, you touch a water, you can Rainbow Brush the water for a metal energy, and that would allow ADP to attack, get knockouts, whatever you need to do. Another thing you could do is you can play things like Palkia GX, and in against the mirror, you do 150 and get rid of all their energy. So it's not so if you get behind by any point, if you can achieve 5 energy, you can literally just use Palkia's GX attack and clear their board of energy. Chances are they're going to try to do the same with you if you get a lead. So always make sure to be prepared to leave a Crash Awake in hand, or an energy recycler, or even a fisherman. If they give it all of your energy, fisherman may be the best way to do it. Of course, a really smart player is going to notice if you only have one Frostmoth in play, chances are they may try to custom catcher it if they can, and use theirs so they can just, knock the Frostmoth out, get rid of all your energy, and force you to set up one. So it's always crucial to set up 2 in that matchup, in my opinion, because there's always that chance that that thing gets knocked out. And even then, there are a few Pokemon in this format that do hit the bench. So it's going to be a lot more imperative that you prepare for a lot of these matchups. Now, thinking ahead, Fire is not an auto win. By any stretch of the imagination, it is not an auto win. Basically, the ones that run Ninetales can just continuously knock out your Frostmoth with 1 or 2 prize attackers, and if they do this with Ninetales, it becomes a nightmare, which means you do need some kind of Pokemon recovery. Thank God we're getting a fishing rod, which allows us to bring back, I think, 2 Pokemon and 2 energy. So you can just do that to give yourself, I guess, the better chance. So that's probably one of my favorite decks. In Standard is that Lapras. In Expanded, like I told you guys several times, on I guess Verbank and maybe Hayfonte before it got taken down, that Snorlax VMAX is my favorite expanded choice. Snorlax VMAX is by far the best Pokemon, second to Zoroark GX. The only better thing about Zoroark is that its ability allows it to draw cards. If it were not for that, Snorlax would almost certainly be my number 1 ranked card in the format. However, I'm personally going to say Snorlax is the best deck in Expanded right now, in my opinion, before anyone tests, because of how good it is. With all the cards around it, it basically does the same thing as Zoroark, except it takes another colorless energy. Instead of doing 20 times, it does 60 plus 30 times, and it's also a stage 1-ish Pokemon, Of course, we know VMAX aren't really stage 1s, they're like stage 1s. And what's even better about this Pokemon is that it is more HP than Zoroark, even though it gives up an extra prize, but it hits for so much damage. The best part about this card to me is that turn 2, you can use a card called Winona. Winona allows you to search for 3 colorless Pokemon. And one of my favorite things about Snorlax is how much he has around him. For example, Snorlax has, if you're playing Buzzwole, Lucario, Lycanroc, some fighting type Pokemon, like even Regirock V or I forget what the other one is, some kind of Stozian VMAX or something, I forget what it's called. If you're playing fighting, then all you do is throw Altaria from Roaring Skies and just block weakness. And it's an easy tech. It's also stage 1, so you can use Nest Ball or Quick Ball. You can even use Ultra Balls if you'd rather. There's tons of things that you can do with this. I've even thought about doing Friend Ball, because you know your opponent is going to play things like Shaman, just like you. A lot of them are going to play Ditto Prism or Get It Down. Several stall decks even play a Rangaroo, so it's possible that Friend Ball could get some shine. Not exactly, but just a thought for determining what the metagame is going to look like. But with Altaria, you stop the weakness. With things like Raticate from Boundaries Crossed, it gives you a 1 prize option for taking a knockout for the exact same energy cost as Snorlax. So the thing is, yes, you require a triple colorless energy that discards it in a turn, but you also have ways to recover it, and you're almost always going to be taking a knockout with every attack you make. So making them count, of course, is the biggest part of it. And that's why almost all of our Pokemon take 3 colorless energy attacks, because they're the best option for the deck. For example, like Raticate, there are times when you're going up against 2 prize decks like Zoroark, and you only want to give up 1 prize because you want to force them to also take 3 knockouts to your 3 or 4, and Zoroark cannot one-shot Snorlax. Garbodor cannot one-shot Snorlax. Megalopuni cannot one-shot Snorlax. So you're looking at decks that are more than likely going to be stuck playing things like Buzzwole in Lucario, maybe even Lycanroc GX. A lot of people might think, hey, we can just run the Lycanroc from Celestial Storm, but the unfortunate thing is, when I attack, my energy gets discarded. So there's no special energy on the field, so you're stuck doing 120 damage. So, and even then, you would still need the Choice Band and an Iris or a Kukui in order to reach that 340 plus with weakness. So even then, I would still probably run Altaria. So you guys can see how this Pokemon is just absolutely so amazing, and it gets so incredible so fast. It's probably one of the deadliest Pokemon in the format. It's by far the easiest to set up, and even if you wanted to, if you went second, you could technically tech in a 1-1 or a 1-2, a 2-2 Mega Ray, and just say, okay, let me go Guz Mahala. I've got enough ways to search up my Pokemon. Let me use one of my Guz Mahalas going second, and I'll just search for Skyfield, Rayquaza Spirit Link, which I would tech 1 of in there, and then 3 CE. And then I can just grab a knockout going second and put the pressure on right then and there, and not have to worry about going, about waiting the turn. If I go second, oh man, I gotta wait for Snorlax to attack. No, you don't. You can literally attack that turn if you throw in the resources of Mega Rayquaza to give yourself an out as a turn one attack going second to put real pressure on your opponent. Usually you're going to do this against decks like Mew Mew, because Mew Mew is going to have a lot more pressure with some of its lock tactics, or it's going to try to answer a lot of what you do. More than likely, we're going to look and see Mew Mew try to approach the matchup by using Noivern or some other cheeky something that might come out later. But as for now, I really do not see any deck really having an auto win against this deck. Especially when it comes out, it's going to be extremely spectacular. Another thing that you can also expect is that there are so many other things that can literally just break whatever it is your opponent's trying to do. Like with the Galarian Zigzagoon, one of my favorite things about it is it adds that extra damage, but it is an ability. Some of the things that we're going to expect is that while there are things like Giratina, it hits the bench, whereas Galarian Zigzagoon just comes down, and it does have a higher up evolution that we're normally never going to use. But another thing we can do is just play like multiple sky fields. We play multiple ways to get extra damage, like hit that one of Iris or Kukui. We can hit a lot of damage pretty fast, so we don't need some of those tactics like we would in Lapras and other stuff, because Snorlax is already, with a sky field, hitting for 300 damage with a full bench sky field. So if you give him a muscle band, he hits for 320. If you happen to have used Kukui that turn, he hits for 340. So you're looking at a Pokemon that can virtually one-shot himself, and that's why I really, really like this deck. And that's why I want this to be the one deck I play at Collinsville, specifically because I think it's the best deck in the format before it even comes out. You guys may or may not see me in Australia. You may or may not see me in Costa Rica, because I'm planning on going to one or the other, but something may change it. I may not get to go, guys. And as much as I hate to say it, I really, really want to go and show the world how good Lapras is before the world even gets to see it. Because I guarantee you, less than 25% of the field is going to be playing it. Everyone's going to be stuck on Lapras, everyone's going to be stuck on Metal because of the new tool card for, or not the tool card, the new patch for Metal. They're going to be stuck on that. They're going to be stuck on the that one basic Pokemon. I think it's Galarian Meowth or something. I forget what it's called. The promo one that searches for the Galarian Prankster. I think's what it's called. I'm not 100% sure on that. Or Berserker. And it's be able to search out Pokemon, which is pretty cool. I honestly don't believe that it has the capacity to keep up with Lapras. ADP is really good. Green's versions of decks are really good. I seriously doubt, with Crasher Wake available to us, I don't see these Greens decks being able to reliably beat Lapras every single time. Because with Crasher, you have access to your stadiums so much more easily. And then say I play Crasher, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab the stadium, and usually I'm going to grab a quick ball or the Dedenne itself. And I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to replace the stadium, and now I'm going to go Dedenne. Now I'm going to start setting up, and I'm going to start getting knockouts. Because what do Green's decks lack? They lack acceleration. They lack true aggression that most decks cannot offer. Like, even Baby Blounds is not as aggressive as a Greens version as it is with Pidgeotto, because it doesn't have access to the draw that Pidgeotto offers it. And I think that's why Green's decks do so well because a lot of decks aren't being as aggressive in the current standard format, and because there's such little, in my opinion, I really don't like the consistency options we have in our current standard format. I just think there's not a lot of options to give me 80-90% guaranteed success of setting up a deck. And that's why I can't wait for things like Professor's Research, I think is what it's called, Quick Ball, and even that watertight Professor's Letter that may or may not come in Shield and Sword. If it doesn't, I'll wait till the next set. I'm willing to wait on that. But these cards that are coming out make things a lot more consistent for me. And not only can I play Professor's Research, I also have access to, like I said, Crash Wake. I have access to Fisherman, Lady. And if I wanted to play Misty and Lorelei tag team, I could play that. And the only reason I would is to be able to use Palkia GX's attack twice. And that would be literally the only reason I'd want to do it. So there's a lot of different options we have. There's a lot of tournaments that I really want to go to, but I may or may not get to go to them. Just to kind of let you guys know. Also, this is the main reason I made this video. I wanted to tell you guys that Shifty's Club will be going to Twitch, and it will be in the next 1 to 2 months. I will ask a lot of people about equipment, and I'll be acquiring the equipment to set up a really nice Twitch channel. So make sure to tell all of your friends, family, anyone who was part of PTCG Hell, whoever, make sure to tell them that Shifty's Club will be on Twitch in the next 1 to 2 months. I've still got to get home internet. I've got to get a really good computer system. I need to get basically everything because I want to make sure it's ready for gaming, make sure I've got the whole setup. I'll even ask a few current Twitch streamers what their recommendations are, and I'll try to make things as interesting as possible. I'll make sure to go in with a plan for you guys. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching / listening. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Post any comments in the comment section down below. And as always, I hope you guys have as much fun as I had. I'll see you guys next time at Shifty's Club.